1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go and 31 Days of Horror. Oops, all werewolves. This is day number
5.
I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Honeybee. Welcome, you little spooksters.
Honeybee and I are two best friends who normally make our way through the history of kaiju movies, but in October, we like to torture Precious. Precious gets
Precious
a
likes to
masochistic
torture
streak.
Precious.
Yes, I decided to put out an episode every day our first year, and then I did it again our second year. So this is our
And this is our third year.
marathon. Yep. And we open it up to other types of movies, but this year we have a theme. We're doing werewolf movies, and today's movie is Blood and Chocolate from 2007. It is based on a book.
I gotta tell you why I chose this movie.
Okay.
Okay, so when I was in elementary school, this book was like on the horror shelf in the library.
Ooh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I really wanted to read it, but it was really, really big. And there was this know-it-all named Jeffrey. We'll call him Jeffrey because that's his name. Sorry, if you're listening to this, Jeffrey, I hope that you've grown into a nice young man because you were a know-it-all in elementary school. Anyways, and there was this, I had just read the back cover of this book, like to read the summary, you know, and then this girl who, like, we were all in elementary schools, like our elementary school library, she like walked up and she was like, ooh, I really want to read that. Is it good? And then I told her what it was about because I had just read the back of the book and I really wanted to read it too. And then Jeffrey was like, it's not that good. And then he looked at me and he said, it sounds like you just read the back of the book. And I was like, yeah, I did. I didn't say that. I just rolled my eyes and walked away. But he was like, just like being a snot because I hadn't read the book. I had only read the back of it. And like he was like saying that it wasn't that good. And I was just like, ugh. So whenever I saw that this was on the list, I was like, I have to, this one's for Jeffrey.
Well, apparently fans of the book do not care for this movie because it takes some liberties and changes things around and such.
Like you do.
So you should maybe still go read that book, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
well, let's list the cast. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's 2007, 98 minutes. It is in color, and the budget was $15 million.
Whoa!
Box office $6.3 million.
Oh, ouch!
I'm gonna tell you right now, they did not spend any of that $15 million on special effects.
Dude, this cast. Okay, let's just talk about this for a second before we like actually get into the cast because you don't know any of these people anyway. But what I'm saying is these cast, like this cast, it's like a bunch of actors that you like think you recognize. Like they look like other actors, but it's like the generic version. You know, this is like the Great Value brand of actors.
We have Amanda Seyfried at home.
Yeah, I mean, they did good. I mean, you know, they did as good as they could with what they had, I feel like. But I just feel like, man, like, the lead character, she reminded me of Kristen something. What is her name? Kristen...
Stewart?
She's very popular. Maybe Stewart. She did like the Twilight movies.
Yes, that's Stewart.
Yes, so she reminded me like she kind of like looks like her a little bit, or like has like like a similar like badass attitude, and then like the bad guy, like they just all kind of like could be this other actor, but I don't know, it was just so funny to me. It was I loved it. I loved not the movie, but just like the actors.
Okay, let's see. We have Agnes Bruckner as Vivian Gandolon, Hugh Darcy as Aidan, Oliver Martinez as Gabriel, Katja Ryman as Astrid, Brian Dick as Rafe, Chris Gere as Ulf, Tom Harper as Gregor, John Kerr as Finn, Jack Wilson as Willem, Vitaly Ursu as Konstantini, Bogdan Voda as Albu, and Kata Dobo as Beatrice, Maria Dinulescu as Girl in Red, and Mihai Gruya Sandu as Pharmacist.
Okay.
So, there you go. Don't know who a damn one of those people are.
Which is fine. It's not like it doesn't say anything it's whatever. But the problem in this movie is not the cast. I'll say that.
Yeah, they were all fine.
Yeah.
So it seems to me there's like three basic kinds of werewolf movies. Mm-hmm. There's some schmo gets bit by a werewolf and has to go through that experience and probably ends up dead at the end, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then there is a werewolf among us. Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to figure it out. And sometimes you get a combination of both of those, like we did with the Wolfman remake.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this movie, which is like The Secret Lives of Werewolves. Werewolves are a subspecies of humans. They're not individuals who are cursed. They are a subspecies who have been living among us and have their own little society and their traditions and rules and whatnot. And that's what this movie is. I don't know if you see these ads. I don't know why I keep getting them, but on YouTube, I keep getting ads for audiobooks that are these like werewolf romance things.
Ew, no, I do not.
I don't know. Well, you probably will now. And they're like, because I have not bought that kind of audiobooks. I don't know why they're showing up on my feed, but they're like, he was the alpha of my pack, but I was not his chosen mate. Or he chose me for his mate, but I didn't love him, but he's an asshole. And, they're all about werewolf societies, alphas, and mates.
Gross.
Yeah. And, being chosen or not being chosen. And, folks, I'd like to remind you all, if you have not gotten the update from science, there's no such thing as an alpha male. That guy made a mistake. He wrote another book years later saying he'd made a mistake, but now it's just out there, and people think that humans have alpha males. Wolves don't have them, and neither do humans. But this fucking movie does.
Ugh, God. Gag me with a fucking forklift. The problem with this fucking movie is the alpha male. It's the alpha, period.
Yeah.
He is very problematic. First of all, okay, like usually if you're...
Wait, do you mean the werewolf guy or the artist guy?
The werewolf guy.
Yeah.
The guy who's trying to fuck his niece. The guy who's trying to leave his wife to fuck his niece. That one.
But Honeybee, those are the rules. He didn't make them up.
Yeah,
Every 7 years. He doesn't have to pick her, though.
It doesn't make sense because every 7 years, but they have a kid together. Him and Astrid have a son who's not 7 years old.
Oh, no.
So
He's had a couple of mates. No, I think Astrid was his first mate, but he's had a couple since then.
Yeah, and he keeps fucking Astrid, too.
Yeah, it does
And
seem like he comes sniffing around.
He's the leader, and he could make different rules. But no,
Yeah.
he doesn't. He wants to fuck his
And
niece.
somebody-
And then when she tries to kill him, he's like, "Are you going to shoot your family? Well, oh, now you're her family?" Yeah, fuck this guy. And her weird, it's like there's so much going on in this movie, like weird inbred cousin, girlfriend, boyfriend shit. And like they try to make it okay because they're like half dog, and it's just like not working for me.
Yeah. Well, and she's trying to be nice to her cousin, sort of, and then he's just all creepy and weird. Although at one point he claims right before he dies that he's actually trying to help.
Boo.
That he was trying to keep the human guy from getting, killed or wrapped up in things or whatever. It's like, I was trying to help you.
This movie is so 2007, and
but the human guy is not a whole lot better because he is a stalker.
Yeah, and then he blames
and
her. He
practices the persistent form of courtship.
Yeah, he like will not leave her alone. He even says like, if you don't talk to me, I will be in this chocolate shop, which is her job, every single day. Yeah. And then whenever he finds out she's a fucking werewolf, he's like, you should have left me before, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah. She fucking tried, you piece of shit.
I'd like to take a moment. I want to take a moment to speak to the young men in the audience. How you doing, fellas? Listen to me. If a woman literally runs away from you, that is not a challenge. It is not an invitation. Just let her run away, because that's what happens in this movie. She sees him
twice
after meeting him once. After meeting him once, she sees him and runs away, and he just starts chasing her. I'd also like to take a moment to mention the bad parkour in this movie, which is also very 90s, but is usually done a lot better. It's just very lame.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Oh, it's so funny. I just kept screaming, hardcore parkour.
That dick just won't let her alone, and it's not cool, but it fucking works. So
of course it does.
Thanks for that terrible lesson, movie.
Oh god.
Thanks.
I will say a positive. There is a positive about this movie, and I will say it. Okay, the positive is that when the werewolves, or whatever they're fucking called in this movie, turn into
loup-garou. It's French.
Okay.
It's just French for werewolves. Loup-garou.
Loup-garou. When the loup-garous, they are actually wolves. Like the transformation from human, they turn into like actual wolves. And I appreciated that. Look, Benicio del Toro did amazing. Okay, he was a great wolfman. I loved I love that but I just really appreciated that in this movie, especially because there were so many wolves that they just like animorphed into like an actual dog.
See, the end product was fine, but the way they got there was just so goddamn cheap that I did not care for it at all. This was like cable TV level of shit.
How many ballet dancers did they hire to like twirl, jump, twirl in the air?
Just jump, all right, and then jump. So yeah, they run along as humans, and then they jump through the air, and then they glow kind of golden and turn into wolves. Magically, apparently, because their clothes just disappear. They don't fall to the ground. They don't get torn. But really shitty magic, because when they change back, clothes are just gone. So that's going to run your bills up unless you think ahead.
Yeah, and they
But
also
they-
don't need like anything to turn, like no moon, no like none of that
Yeah.
shit. They just turn at will,
Yeah.
which was also
Yeah.
kind of cool.
But there's no practical effect. There's no CGI except just at one point. I mean, the CGI is just making them glow, but we don't really see any kind of a morph into a wolf. We don't get any real transformation effect. We just get this glow and then they're a wolf. And it's an actual wolf, which means they spent no money on makeup or suits or prosthetics or anything. So, although I'm fine with a wolf form of werewolf, it is also on the cheap side if you spend no money on the transformation. So,
Yeah, where did this $15 million go? Like, what did they spend it on?
all the location shooting, I
Set?
guess. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah, it had to have been.
I guess it's not too big of a budget in 2007. But I also saw on Wikipedia that they got Bucharest wrong.
Oh,
That they say that they're in one place, but they're clearly in another place. If let's see. For the film's Piatta Romana is actually the Curtea Vice yard. So, and the film's Biserica Silvestru, the Silvestru Church, located in downtown Bucharest, is actually a church in Stribi Palace Buftea, which is located tens of kilometers west of Bucharest. So yeah. So I don't know, because I think they were in Bucharest. They just didn't care. Like, is this the the Romana Square? No, this is the old court. Don't bother.
it'll do.
Don't worry about it. It's an open space. There's a fountain. No problem.
Bring in the wolf statues.
Yeah. I also, let me see. I made a couple of notes. Where did I put them? Hold on. Let me get my notes. All right. It's just like a quarter of a page, but I
made
wrote
one note.
Okay, my first note is bad parkour. But my second one is graphic novel asshole. He's a comic book artist. Mm-hmm. And when she refers to his comic book, he's like, well, it's a graphic novel, actually. He's not that bad, but he's... And he's just being a douche. It's a comic book.
I think
you don't need to be
everybody-
pretentious.
I hate to say it, but every male in this movie is kind of a douche.
Yeah. So graphic novels are a subset of comic books. They're not a different thing from comic books. They are comic books. Not all comic books are graphic novels, but all graphic novels are comic books. And you don't need to be a pretentious dick about it if somebody calls your graphic novel a comic book. What an asshole. Yep. So the other notes I already covered, but my last note was mansplaining Loop Guru.
Oh my god.
Because he's just totally explaining to the werewolf what werewolves are all about. It's like, you tool. You absolute tool.
Yeah, this movie was the most 2007 thing I have ever seen since 2007. I think if I would have watched it in 2007, because like, let's see, where would that put me? Like the 9th grade, like 8th or 9th grade, I would have liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like a teenager and like it was like 2007. Like, God, as soon as the movie started, like the music, the hoodie at the beginning, like, well, after her parents get off, but like when she's like running and she like looks at the dog and like puts her hood up, I was like, oh yeah, baby, this is 2007 right here. Like it was just like very one of those things where like even if you haven't seen the movie, just the quality of it and kind of everything going on in the movie kind of makes it like nostalgic, you know what I mean? But yeah, everybody in this movie, all the dudes in this movie were so douchey, and it was just wow. It was fun to watch, but not for the right reasons. not in a good way.
Well, it's free to watch a couple of different places if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I think I watched it on Prime.
It's free on Prime. It's free with ads on a couple of other things. I can't remember if there was ads on Prime. There might have been.
There were not.
So you mentioned that the book was in your school library.
Yes.
According to the American Library Association, Blood and Chocolate was the 57th most banned and challenged book in the United States between 2000 and 2009.
Oh.
It was also the 10th most banned and challenged book in 2001 due to being sexually explicit and unsuited to the age group. So I'm surprised that it was in your school library.
School.
I would have had it in the junior high or high school library. I'm a little surprised it was in the elementary one.
Shout out to Gail Pond Alamo for keeping it real.
If that doesn't make you want to run out and watch it, then read it. I don't know what will.
Oh, yikes on a bike. Ugh, this movie was garbage. I mean, okay, the thing is like, it's like, it's not that bad. Like, we've definitely seen worse movies, but it's just like, it's so, I was getting so angry with the whole, because like, it's just a different time, right? Like the early aughts is a very different time. Like if a kid from like the latest generation or like, a Gen Zer watched this movie, they would just be like, what the fuck? Like when he's chasing the girl down, and like, when at the like, there's a moment at the beginning where there's this girl and she's like dancing for Rafe and then he grabs her ass. Like that's just not as acceptable now as it was in 2007.
Well, it wasn't acceptable then because she shut him down. She seemed to be into him and then he crossed the line
but then
and she shut him down. But he's a bad guy. But he's a bad guy. They weren't saying it was okay for him to act that way. Whether or not
it was okay, whether or not whatever they're saying, it was a very different time. Okay? Because today, people would be like, okay, in 2007, there would be an argument like, well, she was dancing this way. Well, she was looking at him this way. Well, she. And now that's just not the case as much. Now it's more like, well, she doesn't have, that doesn't mean that she's asking him to touch her, basically. And that you could just really see that in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, you just really get that in this movie. And it's just, like, kind of icky and just kind of annoying and just, like, it was a different... 2007 was a different time, my boy.
All right. I thought there was a little bit of that because, she does seem like she's dancing for him, but as soon as he touches her, she's like, hey, that... I didn't give you permission to do that. So, but yeah, it's very dated. But it is one thing for the bad guy to act like a dick when our supposed hero is just being so inappropriate. I don't know. It's not okay.
Yeah, and then he's kind of an asshole through the whole movie because even whenever, like, at the end, they're like running away together and all this shit, and then he just like cuts his arm and is like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna turn into? Are you gonna kill me now? And it's like,
just
dude,
taunting
fuck
her
off. What did you like, what are you doing? Like, why are you such an asshole?
Yeah
Ugh. Boo.
I don't know what she was she was just like, well, he's not related to me, and on a scale of 1 to 10, he's only at a 5 of being an asshole. Whereas everybody else I know is at a 10.
Yeah,
so
at least
I guess
he's not my uncle. So
I'll be okay with this. Honeybee, what are you going to rate Blood and Chocolate?
Oh man, I'm gonna.
Oh, I forgot.
rate it.
I meant to give us a moon-based rating system this time,
Oh, instead of
but we didn't do it. Yeah. So,
Good
but
one.
we didn't do it for the other movies. So we're talking like no moon, and technically that's called a new moon when it's no moon. Quarter, half, 3/4, and full. So that gives us five stages.
Ugh, man, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it, but it was like okay in some parts. I just kind of feel so many things for this movie, but none of them are very positive, except for maybe the nostalgia factor. So I think I'm gonna give it a 2, whatever that moon is.
That would be a quarter moon.
I think I'm gonna give it a quarter moon because
Yeah, I have too.
I didn't like it, but I don't know. It's just like fart noise. And also, and it's like the thing is like I really wanted to watch this movie and be like, "Ha, suck it, Jeffrey," but he was right.
Well, I think the
He
book might have
was
been
probably
better.
right.
I hope the
Yeah.
book was better.
Maybe so.
Ugh.
I honestly, I probably won't read it. I'm gonna be real honest. Like I probably won't. Maybe, but probably not.
All right, well, there you go, folks. Blood and Chocolate. Excuse me. Blood and Chocolate, if you care to watch it, it's free with ads on a bunch of things.
If you're like a millennial and you want to go back to your like teenage days of douchey men and unfair standards, and then yeah, I mean you might get a little nostalgia feel out of this, but otherwise we watched it, so you don't fucking have to.
Yeah. And we'll be back tomorrow with another werewolf movie. Thank you for joining us. Please like and rate us on whatever you're using to listen to us. Check us out on our webpage, Excuse me.
Oh no,
Check
he's
us-
turning.
Check us out on our webpage, mmftg.com. Consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mmftg. Until next time, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honeybee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/mmftg.
Fun time go!